Long Islanders packing the polling places early to make their voices heard in this historic election. The bitter battle for the White House, the motivating factor for many. Is Joe Biden's call for change enough to push President Trump out of the White House? Or will President's loyal base give him another 4 years? Welcome to Newsday's special election coverage. I'm Jessie. Tonight, we'll be bringing you the latest on the key races as well as in-depth analysis from Newsday's political team of experts. The marquee contest is for the White House. President Trump versus Joe Biden. The president trying to overcome criticism of his handling of the coronavirus pandemic, as well as polls that have shown him trailing the former vice president. Right now, the Democratic Party has control of the House. They have a 232 to 197 majority. At this point, it doesn't look like Republicans will be able to regain control. In the Senate, Democrats think they have a chance to win a few key races and push Republicans out of power. Right now, the GOP holds a 53 to 45 majority with 2 independents who caucus with Democrats. Here on the island, one of the hottest battles is in the 1st Congressional District. Incumbent Republican Lee Zeldin trying to fend off a challenge from political newcomer Democrat Yancey Roy. Another big race is in the 2nd Congressional District. Democrat Jackie Gordon hoping to turn the district blue. Republican Andrew Garbarino is hoping to keep it under GOP control. They're fighting for a seat being vacated by longtime Congressman Peter King, who's retiring. The Democratic Party opened up its wallet to support first-term state senators like Monica Martinez. They've been spending big to fend off a challenge from Republican Alexis WEIK. Another big state Senate race is between Democrat Laura Ahern and Republican Assemblyman Anthony Palumbo. They're jockeying for a seat in the 1st District being vacated by Republican Kenneth Laval. Regardless of who you vote for, it may be a little while before we find out who the official winners are. I spoke with Newsday's team of political experts about the impact of the record-setting voter turnout.
The number of absentee ballots that were requested were just off the charts.
Early voting, absentee ballots, and traditional election day voting were all options.
Final weekend, the number of people who had participated in early voting the first 7 or 8 days was 10 times the amount of people who participated in 2019.
Newsday's Albany Bureau Chief Yancey Roy says early voting and mail-in options could slow down the ballot count.
There's a high volume of mail-in ballots in every state, and neither candidate is close to 270 electoral votes. It might be multiple days before one of those swing states are declared in someone's category and we have sort of a winner.
That's something President Trump has been speaking out against. He wants a winner decided tonight.
The numbers are not looking in Trump's favor. I think we can expect to hear a lot of the same rhetoric in terms of raising questions about the legitimacy of the election and raising questions about whether, mail-in voting deadlines should have been extended. From the Biden campaign, I think we're going to hear a little more of what we've been hearing, just a more measured approach. Let's make sure every vote is counted. Let's take our time.
Election forecasters say mail-in ballots could shift close races in key states like Pennsylvania.
You could see Trump up by 15 or 16 points in Pennsylvania, but based on the fact that more Democrats will likely be voting via the mail, over the next several days of counting, the Pennsylvania total could shift as much as 21 points and go from Trump by 16 to Biden by 5.
The same goes for the local elections.
And the interesting thing about the Long Island races is that some of these paper ballots are not going to be started to counted until about 7 days after.
Voters are motivated this year more than ever.
The COVID-19 pandemic and social unrest following the death of George Floyd are pushing new voters to the polls.
The overwhelming majority of the new voters in Nassau or Suffolk, these are people voting in these jurisdictions for the first time or voting this year in these jurisdictions, are young people. All of this, the protests, the counter-protests, we are seeing it show up in the registration. The trick now is to see how it shows up in the results.
That's it for now, but we'll be keeping you updated throughout the night on the election results once the polls close. Remember, you can always get up-to-the-minute election information on our website. For Newsday, I'm Jessie.